Yo, so remember when Fani Willis, the district attorney of Fulton County in Atlanta, Georgia, was trying to make a name for herself by prosecuting Trumpito and 18 others for attempting to overturn the 2020 presidential election results in Georgia? I remember that case was weird because it was weird from the beginning because the charge was basically that they were tampering with voting equipment, but they call it election interference. But that's what it said. That's what it's based on. They said that they was allegedly attempting to tamper, that they were tampering with voting equipment. But the initial affidavit states that there was 17 different attempts to gain access to unauthorized machines. In 8 cases, they did gain access, and when they did gain access, they downloaded data from already voted machines in 8 different instances. But attempting not to change the votes. They just wanted to make sure for real. And it says that they was basically directed to do what they did by Trump, and that's how Trump is involved in this conspiracy case. But I can see that I can see that because I was in Georgia in 2020. Actually, I was traveling everywhere in 2020, and the entire country was definitely all MAGA for real everywhere I've been. So I would have found it suspicious to lose Georgia. I mean, Atlanta is a blue city, but Georgia, I was there. Everybody was red. Before the case could start, though, Trump's lawyers found out a few details that Fani Willis thought that she could keep to herself. Remember this?
Yeah, but Fox News learned this just in. The Georgia Court of Appeals has granted the defense's application for an appeal after, you remember back, go back to Georgia. That's Fani Willis and Nathan Wade. Remember them? Okay. And she has said that they did absolutely nothing wrong. Trump's side is saying, we want an appeal, and the Judge McAfee had ruled that the special prosecutor, Nathan Wade, resigned from the Trump election interference case in Georgia. Originally, the judge had given the Fulton County DA's office a choice between having Willis remove herself or having Wade resign. And obviously, Willis didn't remove herself from the case, so that means, going forward, the court is going to hear defense arguments on why they think Fani Willis should have been removed from the case. So there's no date on this yet, and this news about this willingness to grant Trump's Fani Willis appeal is just coming into us.
President Trump's application for appeal from the trial court's order refusing to disqualify Fulton County DA Fani Willis. So it would seem that he's injecting a little bit of optimism into that
Yes, and
message.
we have.
Yeah, so she was removed from the Trump case and from several other high-profile cases that she had signed up for because her special prosecutor, Nathan Wade, whom she hired to lead the case against Trumpito, her and him have been freaking off and have been making money arrangements. My name is Marcus Russell. This is the Marcus Russell Show. I think the devil's advocate had helped catapult Miss Willis from being just a regular, she was a public defender at first, and now she's a high profile prosecutor, catapulted her to the top of her career. But everyone knows if you make a deal, even if you make a deal with the devil, God's children will always prevail. For real. Note, Trumpito and MAGA, we God's people. Make sure you tap that like and subscribe button. Let's get right to the video.
I was on this set. Look, Fani Willis 2 years ago had Donald Trump lined up for a prison jumpsuit, like open and shut case. It's Fulton County, Georgia. Yeah. She thought she could go RICO on him. Now she's going to join Trump in being probably a McDonald's employee. You know, I think it's the only place that may employ her. And meanwhile, Trump and Melania, where are they today? They're in England, getting feted by the King of England in a horse-drawn carriage. Yes. How times have changed, Larry.
The King of England in a horse. I have to say what a lefty he is, King Charles.
Well,
I'm sorry. He wears great ties. I'd love to know where he gets his ties. But he's a hopeless climate change, open borders lefty. But that's not really the subject. The subject here is Fani Willis, not the King of England. And this idea that they're going to resurrect the RICO charge is utter nonsense. We will never see this again. This was the period, I don't know what, it was almost as weird as this current period, where warfare, Biden lawfare weaponization, right, wanted to throw President Trump, then candidate Trump, into jail, for about 750 years and take all his money away. This was part of that saga, and it's all gone, erased.
And they searched the country for the dirtiest prosecutors they could find. Remember that Jack Smith with the cape? If that's really his name.
Smith,
and
really.
then Alvin Bragg here in New York with a case that even our greatest legal scholar, Alan Dershowitz, said still can't figure out what the charge was. Letitia James, who may end up in handcuffs before anybody else. And then there's Fani Willis. They should close down that Fulton County courthouse. They've been pulling stuff in there for decades. That's where they framed Martin Luther King, threw him in jail. He would have died there if it hadn't been for the Kennedy brothers calling and demanding he be released.
What's the woman, I can't remember her name. She ran for governor twice and lost.
Stacey Abrams.
And Stacey Abrams. And she was always in court to appeal her election, and she never got it. She was there's a bunch of losers down there. I guess that Republicans are going to take that state over again.
Yo, he made some very valid points. I feel like they did look for the world's dirtiest prosecutor. But nah, that's not what happened. She met Al Pacino. But look, even though she was disqualified from the election interference case, which has zero receipts to begin with, she appealed the appeal. But after a 4-3 decision in the appeals court, she's still disqualified. Sorry, Fanny. You're gonna have to sacrifice more goats to your pagan god. You should have not let Al Pacino trick you like that, Fanny. Y'all remember when when Al Pacino tricked Keanu Reeves? Man, these packs with Satan are expensive. For real. Did you know that the appeals court also found a money trail related to the testimonies of certain witnesses on the case that was directly connected to Nathan Wade? So they was like, they're finding more flaws, the appeals court. Also, did you know that she has to answer to a nonpartisan guild called the Prosecuting Attorneys Council, or PAC? Is that just a coincidence that she made a PAC with Al Pacino? And then probably, you know what happened? She probably did not want to be mother to Antichrist. Because, that's all Al Pacino wants in the end of the day. He just wants somebody to father this Antichrist. And, that's how you close the deal. And then she didn't do it. And that's how it somehow all fell to shambles. Her miraculous rise has... when you sign with Al Pacino, he wants something. He he would have made her queen of the universe if she just would have went ahead and just had that Satan child. Oh man, she blew it. Yep, Stacey Abrams, who had negative $500 when she first tried to become the governor. And now she has a fortune in the millions from this light power on in the community, little non-for-profit organization. I got to get me a non-for-profit, man. That's why if I was in politics, I have so many of course, to help the community, of course. But yeah, like he said, a lot of these Democrats going to jail, and that's why they're trying to get their money up, because these federal attorney fees are astronomical. We got to get your bands up. She probably going to jail too, because she literally is a prosecutor, and you were literally making up stuff and interfering with. Oh my God! Tell me what you think in the comments. Make sure you tap that like and subscribe button. Until next time, peace.